Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today we're going to be taking a look at Hitman 3 Cloud Edition on the Nintendo Switch. Can this third entry though send Agent 47 off in style? And what compromises do we see because of the fact it is a cloud build? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. So before we do kick this off, I want to talk about the game first and foremost in this video. Earlier today I released a video of just kind of initial impressions all about the cloud variation, you know, how it runs, all that good stuff. And while I will of course be touching on that still, my cloud experience towards the end of this video, I want to first focus as always on story, gameplay, graphics and audio, because the series just absolutely deserves that level of attention and not simply a technical breakdown. So story, and this is the concluding chapter to the most recent trilogy of Hitman titles. I say most recent because for those that may not be aware, the series started back in 2000 and this is in fact the 8th installment. It's never particularly been famous for its storylines, but this, I'll say it like out the gate, is the best yet. We find ourselves once again in control of Agent 47 and this time we're out to take out Providence. If you don't know, Agent 47 is a genetically engineered assassin, and this is basically the organization that funded your creation. You've not forgiven them and, well, now you're out to kill them, travel the globe, take out a cast of connected characters, and even meet what I would consider almost like Agent 47's friends. It's the best work yet by IO Interactive, and of course it still has that incredibly dark sense of humour that Hitman is very much known for. So first off, this initial playthrough, it took me about 7 hours. If that sounds short, do not worry, there's a ton for me to go back for, and I absolutely intend to. I would describe my performance in this initial run as probably scrappy at best. That's the beauty of Hitman, that first run is simply a practice, you know, scoping the place out while understanding Agent 47's capabilities. Now it's the time for me to go back and perfect my performance. That's for a scoring system that caps off each level, but then I'll also be doing things like trying different approaches while also dialing up that difficulty. Once I've done that then as well, I can even get started on the alternate assassinations set within the 7 contained locations. I might even revisit the first 2 entries as those can be added from the main menu for $90 combined. Again, cloud versions, but that's $30 for the first game and $60 for the second. Hitman 3 isn't just the conclusion, but it's been designed to basically contain all 3 entries in one place. What I'm trying to say here as we open up this video, there's a lot of content, a lot of bang for your buck. So the concept here from beginning to end, it does not change, nor is it for years honestly. This delivers what we love about Agent 47, an intelligent and often slow-paced approach to, you know, assassinations. Sure, you can of course run in all guns blazing, but I would not expect to survive more than maybe a few moments. The skill here isn't actually really in the execution in my opinion, but planning your approach and basically how you may take these foes out. Perhaps you will use a sniper rifle from long distance, maybe you will choke and break their neck, maybe you'll poison them when they're taking a drink of, let's say, their coffee, something like that. Maybe they'll just slip on a balcony and plummet to their death. Each of the 7 included levels, it focuses on what I wanted, that is flexibility in how I take them out. They're not holding my hand, it just kind of leaves it to me, and that's exciting because, you know, maybe I'll just figure it out for myself. Maybe someone within the world will give away an idea as I'm eavesdropping on their conversation. Expect here though plenty of sneaking, plenty of patience, and a whole lot of disguises. 2 particular highlights for me: a secret lab set in China, and then a Berlin nightclub that's clearly, well, very much so influenced by Berghain. The experience though, it can be as messy as you want it to be, with a trail of bodies left behind you, or the world may never know you were even there, a absolute ghost. That's my preferred option, but I wouldn't say I was particularly successful in this first run. Controls are solid though, with all the abilities you would expect from, of course, pulling out a weapon, changing it using sort of gadgets, to hiding within the environment, to finding hidden items that will be key to a particular assassination path. So think like maybe key cards that give you access to certain locations. Naturally, I don't want to give too much away, but as stealth goes, this is as good as it gets, and it's never really sacrificed what made it so popular, unlike think maybe Splinter Cell, which turned into some weird blockbuster movie, and that was kind of a sad add fate honestly for Sam Fisher. Rounding out the basic controls then, a huge arsenal of weapons, some obvious, some more than a little weird, and then a huge amount of environmental attacks. As I said, think push them off a cliff, push them over the balcony, like less than sturdy structures, poison them, play with exploding golf balls. Don't want to spoil anything as I said, but my main suggestion here is go in and absolutely just experiment with everything you see. You'll even get given an X-ray like vision to spot your foes on those easier difficulties. So problems wise, not many honestly. I had a blast and I'm jumping back in immediately after this, but with the PS5 version. That way I can drop a review over on PlayStation Corner as well. Self plug there, check it out if you haven't already, I will link it below. There's the odd weird object in the world though, probably a small complaint. I think I came across like some small walls, I couldn't jump up them, but I'd just been scaling the largest building in Dubai. And sometimes with multiple button prompts on screen, you'll maybe do the wrong thing. Let's say you're trying to open a door and you end up climbing into a wardrobe. That is though me really stretching for issues. The gameplay is just as addictive as ever, the extra mission types add for replayability, and then the ranking system that closes out each level just leads me to want to now go back and continue to improve, whether that's, you know, taking a few seconds off the time of my run to kill a particular enemy, or even just becoming a ghost that no one ever sees. It's all capped off then with just 7 incredibly crafted worlds that have a ton of detail in them, and they are just built around everything that makes Agent 47 such an exciting character to be. So graphics, and here's where we discuss this cloud version as well, how that impacts the game. Visually, I'm going to tell you now, it is a pretty heavy downgrade from what we see on other consoles. Now that I've kind of experienced every location, it definitely impacts some of those larger locations like China. It's not a bad looking game. In fact, it's probably safe to say one of the best on the console when you factor in the scale of the world around you. But you're going to have to get used to a decent amount of blur and pixelation to this world. This is most noticeable when using the ability to, you know, like X-ray vision, scan the world, you know, see your enemies. The outlines when a target is too far away from you not only becomes a blur, but just kind of like lots of messy pixels. It can be difficult to make out. That also adds to the difficulty of the game. When interactable, you know, objects within the world, they're a bit more difficult to define and spot from far away. That said though, I have one factor I can't judge here. On multiple occasions, the game stated my internet was dropping and the servers were too busy, so it had to switch into low performance mode. It doesn't give you any choice, it's an automatic feature. So now I'm kind of left here trying to decipher, is this the visuals of the game itself, or maybe it's downgrading things just to get it all running smoothly, and I have no idea. It's a weird question honestly to face. I can tell you this though, I do believe it was more about the busy servers. You know, day one of launch, of course it's going to be packed. My internet is running at like 1 gig internet, and I did check the down and uploads and it was absolutely fine. Likewise, this makes the frame rate though a little difficult to judge. You will notice drops and feel some lag at points, but I would say for the most part it was pretty decently around that 30 mark. Sadly though, where the game really struggled for me, it seemed to be cutscenes. They nearly always stuttered throughout, even just actually getting to the point of freezing. I'm not sure why, but I'm curious to see if anyone else is facing that same issue out there. Audio finally, and outside of Agent 47's just gloriously monotone voice, which I love by the way, that is not a negative, we get a solid voice cast supporting him and a whole host of effects and music. Whether that's weapons or the world around you, I was really impressed. Going to parties, things like that, they sounded busy. The nightclub had bass heavy music filling the audio waves, and then the placement of the sound in relation to Agent 47, it was impressive as the volume's changing and moving around you. The music is pretty generic stuff, but it still, even then, knows when to dial up the epic and lean into the almost operatic sense Hitman has always had surrounding it. So overall, Hitman 3 as a game, it's impressive. The gameplay is the best entry yet, and it continues just to push the boundaries of Agent 47's capabilities. It's not his skills that are impressive though, but the world they build around him, and that's where I think Hitman 3 really succeeds. A global adventure of incredibly different playgrounds to explore. Not one is even remotely close to the last one. Now the cloud side of things, not so keen on it myself, but look, this just wouldn't be possible with current Switch hardware, so I see it as a necessary evil, and given the choice, Hitman Cloud Edition or no Hitman, I'm okay with that sacrifice. Sadly though, visually what I saw didn't quite stand up to what we got with the Control Cloud Edition, and I do think it was a missed opportunity to not include multiple options, think like a performance and graphical mode. I think many like to have that choice, and I am definitely one of them. With that all said though, Agent 47 in the palm of your hands, a term I've been saying a lot recently, that's pretty epic, and I won't be putting this one down for some time to come, even if I can't take it on the go, which is always a sad thought when you think it's a Nintendo Switch. A great 8 out of 10 from me though. It might lose slightly on the visual and performance front, or at least that was my experience. The gameplay still just absolutely makes up for it. The problem with cloud gaming though, maybe the game shouldn't look this way, maybe there shouldn't be that blur, maybe the servers, they are having difficulties being day one of launch. There's absolutely no way to know, so I can only tell you in this case what I experienced personally, but understand it could be absolutely just completely different for you. With that though, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.